For this video, I'm going to speak about the for statement, and I'm just going to do this because I keep changing the thumbnail of the video afterwards, and I think it uses the first few seconds. Now this is going to be the thumbnail, so yeah, okay, now the thumbnail is set. So the for statement. So this is another repetition statement. So far, we've used the if statement for conditions. We've used the while statement for repetition. We can also use the for statement for repetition. So the thing about the for is you can say a lot of things about in one line. So firstly, you write the word for. Then there's going to be three things in this bracket. Something, separate by a semicolon this time. Something, separate by a semicolon, and another thing. Close brackets, brace, and brace. Everything happens inside here. So the three things that we're mentioning is we're going to initialize a counter. You first have to declare it at the beginning of the program. I think you can declare it in here as well, but that will, I think, make it a local variable. This just means it's only being used here, and you don't really want to do that. I don't think. No, just do that at the beginning of the program. So you're going to initialize it. So counter equals 1. So the first thing that happens in the for bracket thingy is the thing that sets it off. What happens at the start? That's the control variable name, that's what you call it. Then you're going to say the thing, the loop continuation condition. So basically, just wanted to clarify. So this for statement that we're using is like a combination of repetition and conditional. So it's going to start with something, check if something is still true, and then do something to the counter after each repetition. So it's going to, I said the counter is initialized to 1, and it's going to check each time if the counter is still equal to or less than 10. This will repeat the entire process 10 times, by the way. And after each time this is run through, we're going to add 1 to the counter. This looks like a hash again. We spoke about what this means in the last video. It's just increment. So just to recap, you start with saying, okay, my counter is set to 1. That happened. That is done and dusted. So the condition is the counter less or equal to 10? And obviously it is for the first time. And then if it's true, then okay, cool. That's 100%. We're just going through the code. Okay, now we've reached the end. What are we going to do? We're going to plus 1 to the counter. Then it checks again. Is it still less than 10? Okay, then we do it again. And just do that again. It does that again and again. So that's just useful for instead of writing a while loop where you say while counter is less or equal to 10, and then you do everything inside these braces, and then you say plus counter and close it. You can instead just write, and you also have to initialize this somewhere else. You can instead just do it all in one step. Yeah. So that is the for statement. Let's see what else I can say here. You can also have two things in here. You can also say for, I'm just going to use 2 counters here. No, don't do that. I'm just going to initialize 2 variables, int I and j. I'm going to use these as my counters. This is a comment. If I say for, so j is equal to x, and what can I say? I is equal to y, and then you can say this happens while j is less than or equal to I, and things like that. You can play around with it, but you can use more than one variable in these things. You can use a bunch of things. Just make sure you know what part of the for you're working with. So yeah, that is the fourth statement. I just want to see if there's something else here. Oh yeah, so just in terms of a flow diagram, it would start you as any flow diagram would, with a little circle going on. It's going to do an action, so counter is set to 1. So, and then it's going to check if there's a decision that has to be made. Is the counter less or equal to 10? Well, here it is. This is true. Then it does an action. Well, it's true. And then the counter is incremented. And then it goes back to that part. And it checks, is this condition still true? The moment it's false, it exits this. And then it goes to the end of the program. Yeah. So, oh, in addition to this, I just want to say, previously I mentioned when you're doing something like if... What on earth? I plugged in my phone. Oh, okay, never mind. If something is so, or so and so, just put in one big bracket. And I also say there's something like to double ampersand. No, that's not an ampersand. That just means if both are true. It's also the thing where you can say if x is not 3. You can just do that and just repeat it until it is 3, and then it will stop. Just think, so you can use that not statement as well. You don't have to say not equals, because you're just testing if something is not something else. So that is the 4. And just gonna double check here. Yeah, so in the next one I'm gonna speak about the switch multi-selection statement. So that's it for now. Bye.